Adams of North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank the witnesses for being here today. Reading and math are the foundations, and they open every other door. If a child can't read by third grade, their chances of graduating on time plummet. If they can't master basic math, their pathway into today's workforce narrows. I know this not just from the research, but from more than 40 years in the classroom. I've seen students thrive when they get the right support early, and I've seen what happens when they don't. The nation's report card shows sharp declines in both reading and math, especially after the pandemic. The students suffering most are the ones who were already struggling: low-income students, English learners, and students with disabilities. And what makes this worse is that we know what works: teacher training, early intervention, high-quality curriculum, and strong public schools. But instead of investing in what works, the Trump administration has cut it away, canceling $600 million in teacher training grants. And their new budget proposes eliminating training altogether. You know, you can't reclaim reading and math while cutting teachers off at the knees. Teachers are not the problem. Teachers are the solution, but they need tools. They need training and the support to do their jobs. Dr. Wingfield, welcome, and thank you for your testimony. I grew up in Newark. I'm very familiar with Rutgers State University. I graduated from high school there at West Side. But first, as a former college professor myself, I know that teachers are the heart of student success, but I also know that they can't do it alone. So can you tell us why teacher training is so integral to helping students learn to read and to do math? And what impact will eliminating federal teacher training funds have on classrooms and students?
Absolutely, thank you. The same way learning to read doesn't come by osmosis, neither does learning to teach children how to read. It's a process, it's very structured. Again, I think we all agree that the science of reading is a very valid practice, but it requires that you learn it. Again, talking about language variations, us as the leaders or educators in those spaces also have language variations. And so our goal is to teach young people how to match sounds with letters so that they could potentially decode words on pieces of paper, but we need explicit training to be able to do that. So talking about literacy as a priority and then turning around and cutting the funding that supports it undermines that effort altogether, because teachers need that explicit training in the same ways that students need that explicit instruction in order for it to be successful.
Thank you. It's kind of hypocritical too, I think.
A bit.
But thank you, and let me turn to another point. The administration says that it wants to prioritize evidence-based literacy through discretionary funds. But at the same time, it has cut or proposed eliminating comprehensive literacy development grants and innovative approaches to literacy, programs that already help students and families every day. So do you have concerns about cutting these existing literacy programs, even as the administration claims to support evidence-based approaches?
Absolutely, it's very concerning. Again, we have many vulnerable populations that will continue to suffer and not be able to advance in making progress in their literacy proficiency. And that harms communities overall. It impacts the well-being of communities as a whole when we don't have the resources in place to be able to support students in learning how to read. And that's, our demographics are also changing. So groups of people who are acquiring English, young people who are learning to read over time won't be able to make the economic mobility that's needed to sustain healthy communities.
Okay, thank you. We also know that the gaps are widest for students who were already behind. Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Winfield, how can the federal government best support schools in closing these literacy and math gaps so that children in poverty, English learners, and students with disabilities don't continue to fall further behind?
Well, I'd say stop cutting the funding and freezing the funding. That creates chaos within these vulnerable communities who rely on every dollar to create programming that addresses these issues with our young people within our schools. It's also really important for IES to be able to maintain its capacity, again, because a lot of the research that comes out of IES informs the practices that are happening within the schools. And we also use that data to have targeted programming for students at need.
Thank you. Well said. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.